Coming up in the morning edition, it's a 4-week countdown to the arrival of guests at the Atlantis Resort.
Test everyone when they arrive, and we're going to charter planes, and we're flying people in starting December 1.
We begin our conversation with the Deputy Commissioner of Police.
I'm just so humbled by this experience, and, you know, every day I'm trying to balance to be the second in charge and then to lead a home.
And Junkanoo Beach hit hard by the pandemic.
Just want to encourage everyone to remain optimistic about the future. I think the Bahamas is an excellent product.
All when the morning edition returns after the break.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties, whatever they may be. We equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas First, what's first for you comes first for us.
We are doing everything we can to make sure that the patients are safe.
The Baptist Health System has an infrastructure and protocols to make sure that you continue to have the care that you deserve.
We're caregivers. This is what we signed up to do. We show up and we take care of those that are in need.
Providing care with my patients that I would want for my own family member.
Come into the hospital if you need that care.
What matters most is your health. Be proactive about it.
Good morning, I'm Lloyd Allen, and welcome to the Morning Edition. We are once again waking up to windy conditions. A stationary front is still over the central Bahamas, generating unsettled weather. Strong to gale force winds also continuing, causing windy and hazardous marine conditions. Here now is your general outlook for the days ahead. Now, Charles Fisher and the morning team are now in the downtown area on this windy Wednesday morning. Charles?
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Good morning, everybody. We are here in Rawson Square once again. We'll be speaking with the National Women's Advisory Council later on in the morning edition. But first, before we get to that, we have our traffic update from last night. And joining us this morning is Corporal Kemp. Corporal Kemp, matters yesterday, one fatality.
Good morning, Mr. Fisher, and good morning, Bahamas. Within the 24 hours, we've had some 13 accidents, 8 of which would have involved injuries. One, as the country has made aware yesterday evening, fatality that occurred. Mr. Fisher, I'm going to encourage the drivers traveling through the streets of New Providence and the Bahamas to continue driving with due care and attention, plan your route, exercise some patience, and when you are turning to these corners, please use your signals and wait for persons to either pass you or allow you to pass. All right. Also, I want to send a message out to persons riding motorcycles. Riding these machines, they're fun, they're enjoyable, but they're very dangerous. And any motor vehicle, in fact, especially if there are some excess speed involved. I'm going to encourage you to please be mindful that you too, when you're traveling through the streets, to drive with due care and attention. Okay?
A lot of persons are driving road traffic, not getting all in place to update their license. It's still an offense. You can be ticketed if you don't have a license, even though your license is not up to date.
You know, Mr. Fisher, most times when I arrive on the scene to commence investigations, I discover that persons are traveling through the streets, and they're not traveling with an up-to-date driver's license, and especially no insurance. And when you get involved in an accident, there's no coverage, and you will find yourself being placed before the court for these offenses. These are very serious offenses. You shouldn't be driving if you don't have a driver's license. And as it's been expressed, especially during this time, without insurance. You have to be responsible people whilst you're traversing the street to make sure that you have the proper documents.
And before we get on your signals, you indicated early driving at intersections, turning on your signals, and right away. Behemoths don't like to give right away.
It is very frustrating, Mr. Fisher, that when we arrive on scenes of these accidents, a lot of the accidents we've discovered tells us that it could have been avoided. If persons would just, again, exercise patience, do pay attention, and if you're about to make a turn, please stop. That's the proper thing to do. Ascertain your way clear. The first thing you should have done was put on your signal, and to make sure that the persons that are traveling towards you acknowledges you, it gives you the permission to make that turn.
Once again, thank Corporal Kemp for joining us here in Rawson Square this morning. We're coming up later on in the morning edition. We'll be talking to the National Women's Advisory Council on their month of activity. Once again, Corporal Kemp, thanks a lot. You're on a motorbike. You hinted, please be safe. And you motorists out there, look out for those motorcyclists out there on the streets.
Well, thanks a lot, Charles. Turning now to news. Concerns brewing over the penalty for travelers who enter the country and fail to take the newly mandated COVID-19 antigen test on the 5th day. The new emergency order says travelers on Grand Bahama and here in New Providence who fail to comply will face a $1,000 fine or 10 months in prison. However, Minister of Tourism and Aviation, the Honorable Dionisio D. Aguilar, says they are in the process of building the platform to administer the test.
So the way we envision that working is that if you're in New Providence, for example, you would go to Doctors Hospital, any one of their outlets. You would have your travel visa, which would have on it your QR code, which is like a barcode. They would then be able to scan that, bring up the details of your travel, and then upload the results to your account with the health visa. In the Family Islands, we're sourcing healthcare providers. We're going to build a website. We're going to show you where to go, who you can reach out to. It's going to be all platform and IT driven.
Now, the Minister of Tourism noted that officials are also hoping to make the process of getting the test easier.
If you came to Nassau and Atlantis was open, we wouldn't envision people coming over the bridge to go to Doctors Hospital. We are going to create a concierge service or let's say Doctors Hospital, whoever the other labs will be, but right now we're starting with one. Let's get that up and they would probably go over to Atlantis. They would set up a remote site there, and so the persons could come down at between 3 and 4. We expect to have an appointment-based system. We're certainly going to make it make the sites known where you can go. We just would love for people to comply.
And good news for Atlanta's Paradise Island Resort employees, as its management company's CEO, Bruce Flatt, provided an update of the resort's reopening during an interview on Bloomberg TV's Front Row program. The resort closed several months ago as COVID-19 gave the #1 industry a heavy hit. However, as the sector looks to rebound, he says in a matter of weeks, their doors could be reopening with proper safety measures in place.
We've now negotiated with the government of Bahamas to have a bubble. We're going to test everyone when they arrive, and we're going to charter planes, and we're flying people in starting December 1. So we will be taking people there. They don't have to quarantine at all. Going down. When they come back, they'll quarantine. Or if they come from a place that doesn't need a quarantine, from a bubble-free COVID zone, because we're going to keep it that way with all the protocols in place. But I think during the winter time, we're going to have an amazing number of people that will want to come down there because there aren't that many options. And so we've negotiated this with the government, and that's allowed us to open up.
Now, responding to this was Tourism Minister, the Honorable Dionisio D. Aguilar.
Basically, what they said was, look, our guests will come in the country, they'll test on arrival, and then they'll go and quarantine in place in our property. So we didn't have a problem with that. Now, obviously, since the 1st of November, we have done away with the test on arrival, and I think that Atlantis still wants to use or take advantage of the vacation in place model, given the size of the property and the amount of amenities that they have. In that particular instance, it makes sense, and the government was minded to agree to that in order to get that property operationalized and thousands of Bahamians back.
And the presidential race in the United States still not decided. Votes are being counted at this hour. Incumbent Republican President Donald Trump is going up against former Vice President and Democratic candidate Joe Biden in a battle for the White House. All eyes remain on the results as they flow in. Still to come, hear how the police are enforcing those mandated restrictions under the pandemic. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Everybody, I on TV. Look, I on TV. Mom, guess what it is? That's me. Bartend, do you see me? I on television. I gotta tell my girlfriend I on television.
Hello?
Babe, turn your television to ZNS. Quick, I on television.
I don't have a TV in there.
We have Wi-Fi, though.
We have Wi-Fi.
That's fine. They upgrade now. You can watch it live from your phone. You just have to download the app.
All right, hold on.
Go to the App Store, type in ZNS, download the app, and you'll be able to watch ZNS straight from your phone. Hurry up and start over again.
Get your news and more anytime, anywhere with the new ZNS app. Stay connected from around the globe with our live stream news updates, all in the palm of your hand. You can also listen to the ZNS Radio Network for your favorite music. Go into your Apple or Google Play Store and download the ZNS app today.
Present check? Miss I's a star now. I still gotta pay?
The Freeport Post Office set to undergo extensive renovations, a new contract awarded for a complete overhaul of the building, which has been an iconic landmark in the city of Freeport for over 50 years. The contractor outlines the work to be carried out within the coming months. Here's Megan Shepard.
The Freeport Post Office building has become a landmark in the Grand Bahama community, but over the years, the building has suffered major deterioration due to normal wear and tear and continued batterings from hurricanes. Misako Investments has been awarded a contract in the amount of $2.8 million to fully renovate the building and restore it to its former glory. President Louis Mizik gives an overview of the scope of works.
Windows, doors, interior, exterior roof, and that's why we have several subcontractors who will give you a detail as to what their work scope would be to bring this holistically back together. Structural restoration, roof restoration, windows and doors renewal, and so forth.
Shabazz Construction has been subcontracted to carry out works on the roof. President Tano Mizik says that several sections are currently leaking, and he outlines what improvements will be made.
So we're going to remove all of the damaged insulation, metal, and stuff like that. So we, as provided in the scope, we have to put back the same metal that was there before. So the roof isn't extensively damaged, but it has to be repaired because they have so many leaking throughout the building. So we have the gutters and stuff that have to clean out, metal have to be reinstalled, and several repairs needs to be done to the roof. So right now we're just waiting on supplies to come in so we can commence work. Once the exterior part, which is the exterior roof part, is done, then we get to the inside part and start going on from there.
He adds this explanation for other interior works.
Within a timely fashion, hopefully within 2 months, 3 months time, we should have that done. And then, like I said, we go ahead onto the inside. We have the plumbers about to start their excavation and their demo work because we have to take out all of the old cast iron pipes and install new piping and plumbing and stuff like that. So it is an extensive renovation. All of the bathrooms going to be gutted and redone. All the interior doors, all of the exterior windows. It's going to be a new building by the time Misako Investments is done with it.
Brian Sands of Windows and Glass Plus has also been subcontracted for the renovations. He notes the building is considered a landmark, and he is pleased to be a part of restoring the post office to its former glory.
Take out all of the windows, all of the glass, all of the doors, and we're going to be replacing them with the ecosystem-friendly hurricane impact windows, glass, and doors. The post office is going to have a new look. You're going to see a new post office building when we would have complete our work. And, we want to assure the Grand Bahama community that when they see the post office again, we want to create that wow effect.
Mizik gives this timeline for the overall completion of work.
We have a 9 months time frame, but we're looking to try to bring it home before 9 months.
Well, thanks a lot, Megan. Commissioner of Police Paul Roll says electronic efforts are evolving when it comes to officers enforcing government-mandated restrictions in the fight against COVID-19. With borders reopened and access to parks and beaches now approved for use by the public, Commissioner Roll explains the Hubcat app by both officials and COVID-related patients remains an important part of the first line of defense against the deadly virus.
The Hubcat process that's ongoing. As you know, we are making some adjustments now that the country is open, and so it is more on the enforcement part of it now with the COVID enforcement unit and making sure that all of these various public spaces, as we try to move more towards the new normal, that we encourage people to abide by those rules. But the monitoring...
Now, restrictions like the 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. lockdown period, he says, are not directly being assisted by drones. However, in tandem with an estimated 40 patrol units on the streets at any given night, the drones remain a useful tool when added to existing patrols by law enforcement officers, as the business of crime has continued throughout the pandemic.
The drones, they're not specific for the COVID, but we have been using drones in some other investigations recently. If you down in one of our drug operations we had in Andros, we deployed drones in that and were able to locate the boat that we suspect brought some drugs in from one of the islands in the Caribbean.
And women continue to make strides in the workforce, and this morning our Charles Fisher is speaking for the first time with the first, a pioneer in law enforcement.
She has spent 37 years on the force, rising through the ranks to now the first ever female deputy commissioner. But law enforcement was not Ismella Davis-Alance's first option.
I wanted to be a mechanic or a police officer. And so in 1979, when I went to R.M. Bailey, they were doing the Caress Day. And I jumped on the bus and went to the police college to take the exam in 79, even though I was in grade 10. When I graduated in 81, I went to ITC Training College, which is now BTVI. And while I was doing my on-the-job training at Ambassador Beach Hotel, I then went to inquire. They were taking in a female squad at the time, and so I joined in 83.
Lots of history on her side. Graduated with the first ever all-female squad.
At the time when we joined, it was a full squad of 21 females. It was a rewarding experience. Going there, none of them I had known, basically. There was just maybe one or two that I had known from R.M. Bailey. A couple of us from R.M. Bailey had joined. We didn't go together, but we ultimately ended up together. And it was a rewarding experience. You met people with varying backgrounds, different cultures and all of that, and we gelled together.
So what was the feeling when she got that call on the promotion to the top level?
I can't even describe the feeling March 30th of 2020. It was just amazing. But I'm humbled. I'm humbled that where God has brought me. I wish my mom was here to see what I became, because I know I gave her some stress. And I'm just so humbled by this experience. And every day I'm trying to balance to be the second in charge and then to lead a home. And so every day I pray for the balance.
Many departments come under her leadership.
I'm responsible for discipline. So you have the Complaints and Corruption Unit, where members of the public can come and make a complaint if they feel that they're aggrieved. I have prosecutions, the Nassau Street Court Complex, the Court Liaison Section that is stationed in the Office of the Attorney General with the Director of Public Prosecution. I also oversee the Senate and the House of Assembly. And I look at the whole issue of the pandemic from the administrative side of it.
Known as a sociable person, she finds time to balance family and the force.
I love people. I came from a family of 10. People was always around. I grew up in the inner city in Sunlight Village, and so we always had neighbors, and so I think because of that, people was always around me. I attended Our Lady's Church, and I was active in the youth group, active with young people, and so people was always around me. My sisters them think I'm 100% police, I can tell you that. Even though I was the middle child, always thought, they say, oh, you think you're in charge of this whole family, But you get to do the balance, some weekends you get to spend some time with them. We have a family chat, and so every morning I get to communicate with them to check, and we do our devotions. And if I'm working, I get a call, they'll check and say, how you doing, how was your day, and all of that. But in that, I understand that I also have to create balance. I have a son, I have my sisters, and I have my husband.
Good morning once again here from Rawson Square. We are joined by Coralie Adley. She's the chair of the National Women's Advisory Council, and Dr. Cleopatra Williams. She's the deputy chair. We just saw a lady there, fine lady, Ismaila Davis-Lansing, and I'm joined by these two fine ladies. First of all, thanks for waking up and getting up in the morning edition.
Good morning, Charles. Good to be with you.
First of all, you have a week of activities planned, National. Tell us about it.
Okay, so actually we have 2 weeks of activity. National Women's Week kicks off on November 21st, and the week started some years ago, really to celebrate the women's right to vote in the Bahamas, the suffrage movement, which is on November 26th. And over the years, it has expanded to include the 16 days of activism, where we focus on gender-based violence against women and girls. So the week kicks off on the 21st, and it ends on the 4th of December of this year. And this year, we're focusing on socioeconomic empowerment for women across the archipelago of the Bahamas with a number of activities. We always kick off with a church service, and of course, this year it will be virtual. And we're looking forward to that, an ecumenical service that'll be aired on 2 days, we are hoping. And then right after that, we're going to have, on the 26th of November, we're going to have a spotlight on the women's suffrage movement, telling the history of it, but looking at where we are today in terms of the women's right to vote, and have we embraced and understand what that means for us as women in this country. And then we're going to end with our summit, which is our anchor event, which will be virtual this year. Usually it's a luncheon, but it will be virtual, and we have some very powerful speakers, both locally from the Bahamas and internationally, to speak to the topic. And we want to focus on the 4 pillars of the council, the National Women's Advisory Council. We're speaking on women in leadership, specifically political leadership, the fact that we do not have the numbers sitting at the table to represent us that we should have. We're going to be speaking about gender-based violence, human trafficking, and economic empowerment. How in this environment can we make sure that every woman has an opportunity to fulfill her purpose in terms of the economy. So it's going to be an exciting time. Even though it starts on the 21st, we have some things coming up ahead of that we wanted to share and to prepare everyone for the 2 weeks.
Let's get Dr. Cleopatra Williams in here now. You'll be focusing on the spotlight for women. And I saw a very interesting thing. Sheroes. What is Sheroes?
It's simply this. Female heroes. There are some unsung heroes in our country that just happen to be of the female gender, and we think it's so fitting that during this time of celebrations with the National Women's Advisory Council that we celebrate these women, highlight them, spotlight them, showcase them to the world even. And during this time of the pandemic, the coronavirus, we're so grateful that we're partnering with ZNS this year, and ZNS is going to give us that ability to make sure every rock and key in the archipelago, in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, knows about the women that we're celebrating this year, some known and some unknown, but definitely a story to be told. And we are excited about telling that story this year through the help of the Broadcasting Corporation, and I believe it's going to be awesome.
In other words, I see a girl boss.
Oh my goodness, listen, we have some girl bosses out there that are making waves. Like Madam Chair said, we have 4 pillars of focus that we look at with the Advisory Council. One of them is economic empowerment. We believe and we know that in this era, entrepreneurship is going to be a big deal going into 2021 and beyond. It's going to be a big deal. So we want to highlight girl bosses that's been really, really making waves in the business era, and definitely impacting the economy for the Bahamas.
Something that's really affecting the world right now, AAA Day, that is focused on gender-based violence and human trafficking.
Absolutely. You know, that's a play on words. The AAA is known as a rescue company, a company that's known for rescue if there's a problem. But AAA in this instance is talking about acceptance and awareness. It's talking about activism, getting people to know, listen, the Bahamas may not have the statistics as other regions as far as human trafficking and gender-based violence. We may be blessed, but we can do better. There are some stories to be told out there, and we want to highlight and herald a message that women in this era are standing up for other women.
Before we get it here, where can persons go online to see the week of activities?
So they'll be posted on our Facebook page, National Women's Advisory Council, NOAC. So you can check out our Facebook page. It will be posted on ZNet's community page starting next week. You will see updates regularly. So stay tuned. We'll have a lot going on social media, some exciting campaigns on social media. You will have an opportunity, the entire Bahamas, to share with us who your shero is. So it's not about us selecting the sheroes, but hearing from you. Who are the women in every island that we need to highlight and celebrate, who especially in this time are doing some extraordinary things as women who are both mom, teacher, provider, you name it. So stay tuned. You will have an opportunity to share with us who your shero is.
So once again, stay tuned to the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas and the National Women's Advisory Council. I'd like to thank Coralie Hadley and Dr. Williams for joining us here on the Morning Edition. We definitely will be following this, and ZNS once again will be on top of everything to let you know what's happening with the week of 2 weeks, I should say. They say a week, but it's actually 2 weeks of activities.
Well, thanks a lot, Charles. I definitely have my shero. We'll take you to Junkanoo Beach when the Morning Edition returns right after the break.
This pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Restaurants may operate utilizing curbside pickup, drive-through, takeaway, or delivery. Any establishment who allows the entry of any person not wearing a mask is liable upon a summary conviction to a fine of $500. I am Ambassador Ashanti Ruka of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
A popular outlet for tourists is now trying to bounce back as visitor returns to the Bahamas. Business at Junkanoo Beach was hard hit. A longtime vendor shares how he is picking up the pieces. Betty Thompson-Moss has more.
In the pre-pandemic era, Junkanoo Beach would normally be bustling with business, attracting many visitors. But now the well-known tourist hub is drab. And now on a windy morning, there's no tourists or swimmers in sight. Proprietor and owner of Tiki Bikini Hut, Byron Coley, has been operating from the beach for the past 10 years. The current pandemic has certainly put a hit on his business to the tune of thousands of dollars. But with borders open, he's hoping visitors will return again.
Well, you know, it's been very slow, but we're using this opportunity to just organize ourselves and to do an assessment. We've been checking with the neighboring hotels. We're at the Marriott Courtyard and the Junkanoo Beach Hotel, and we're letting them know that if they have customers that, we're going to prepare for them and then make sure that they have a great experience. We basically invented the model for tourism. And I know that we will rally and we will be back together, united as one.
While coming back won't be easy, Coley says his staff of 60 will return slowly, depending on the response from patrons.
Once we've done an assessment and we see if clients are coming to the hotels, we're going to start small. We'll have 1 or 2 team members here to assist them if they need lounge chairs and umbrellas. We put the flags 20 feet apart on the beach, and we're going to just encourage them to practice social distancing and make the most out of it. Obviously, we're going to make sure people sanitize. We have the showers in place, and, you know, we're just going to stay encouraged.
That encouragement is sparking the drive to provide some start to the business and a desire and hope to mushroom again.
Obviously, if we figure if the guests are swimming on the beach, they may want to come and do a takeout and have like one of the Bahamian delights on the beach, you know, while they're here. So obviously, we're going to start small. We're optimistic about the future, and we're going to try and make the most out of it.
The local proprietor still has strong confidence in the future of the #1 industry and is urging all to unite to reduce the spread of COVID-19.
I think the Bahamas is an excellent product, and I think that we should just ensure that all of the safety protocols are in place. I know a lot of people are going through so much. We've been devastated, but, you know, I believe that, you know, once you've gone all the way down, the only place you can do now is go up. So I just want to encourage my fellow citizens and everybody, my brothers and sisters. You know, it's really, really hard at this time, but I believe that there's a silver lining, and I believe that we're going to start slow, and we just have to adhere to all of the policies that the government put in place, and let's hope for a brighter tomorrow.
Coley and his team are hoping that brighter tomorrow will indeed return to Junkanoo Beach. For the morning edition, I'm Betty Thompson-Moss.
And this morning, we salute World War II Bahamian veteran Comrade Leonard Knowles. 94-year-old Comrade Knowles is an active registered member of the British Legion Bahamas branch. He is one of the Bahamian survivors of World War II. 75 years ago, he served in Her Majesty's Royal Air Force as an aircraft engineer stationed at the Oaksfield War Camp. The British Legion salutes Comrade Leonard Knowles. And it's a Hump Wednesday. We thank you for continuing to make ZNS your #1 news and information network. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. Let's make it a great day, Bahamas.